In this video, I'm walking you through how to sort and filter your library. First, I'll show you the quickest, simplest way to search for a book in your library, and it's a method that you're probably familiar with already. Use Control or Command F on your keyboard, and you'll see in the top right-hand corner is a search bar. So I'm looking for a book. I can't remember what it's called, but I know it has Gauge. And I have 2 books in my library so far that have Gauge in the title. And you can use these arrows to tab through your titles. And I see, oh, that's right, Brave and Gauge. And then my second book is Gauge Against the Machine. And then you can click X to remove that search. So once you find your book, you're good. If you look at this row of headers, this red row, you can see this. I'm going to unclick that so you can see better. There's this little icon that's 3 tiny little horizontal lines that form a triangle, and that is a filter. You can click on any of these filters to sort your data. And one way that might be nice is to sort alphabetically. And you will get a warning that says that you're trying to edit a protected sheet. If you're just going to make one change, I would click OK. But if you know that you're planning to make changes for the next few minutes and you trust yourself, you can click on Don't show this again for 5 minutes. So I've sorted alphabetically. And one thing I want to note is if it bothers you, it alphabetizes with the. So if that bothers the librarian in your brain, you can enter the title as Red Pen of Destiny, the. And if you want to enter your author name's last name first, that's an option too. So that's just something to keep in mind as you're entering your book titles. So that's one way to filter your library if you want to alphabetize them. Let's take a look at another filter under Craft. Let's say I want to look at all the books that are about knitting. We deselect the ones that we don't want to see. So we don't need to see the blanks. We don't need to see just the crochet. But if it has knitting or knitting and crochet, we want to leave those. And all of these have knitting in them, so I'm going to keep those checked. Other is not knitting. And then we click OK. So now that I have just my knitting books, let's look at the content. And now I don't need to see the stories. Those aren't what I want to look at right now. But I only want to see the ones that have patterns in them. So not the techniques or designing, but just the ones that have patterns. And I see 3 books that are knitting and patterns. So that's a way to really narrow down your search and filter with 2 categories. Now, these changes are not permanent, so don't panic. You can go back. But I think sorting from A to Z is, so it's not going to keep the order that you entered the books. So just be aware of that. I don't know that there's any way to recover that, but really, it's probably not terribly exciting information to keep track of. Note the difference in this little symbol. You can see that this is more of a triangle with those 3 horizontal lines. These categories have filters, so they look like a funnel. So that's the indicator that there's a filter applied. So click on that again, and then we click on Select All, and it'll have the number of items that are in that list. So we select all, and you can see that those the other categories are checked now, and we click on OK, and then we'll take off the filter here. We select all 7, and you can double check that if you want to, and then scroll down to OK. So now we're back to our full list. Another way that I think is useful is to filter by blanks. And what I mean is, let's say that when you first started the tracker, you didn't have all of your information, but now you're pulling up the list of orders that you've placed online, and you really want to complete this information. So let's say for this case, I want to find all of the ones that are blank and I want to fill in that information. So what I did was I cleared everything because if you have lots of books, there's going to be lots of dates here. And then I recheck blanks and then click OK. So now we can see the books that don't have a purchase date listed, and we can enter that information. That makes it easy to fill in the blanks, essentially. And then once we are done with that, we'll select all and then scroll down and OK. Let's say we want to make sure that our shopping list is up to date. We're going to click on the filter for status, and then we don't need to see the books that we already own, but we do want to make sure that the blanks and the wanteds have the information we want. So click OK. And now I see that a couple of these books, I bought that one. So let's say this one, I still want it. And then we can, if you only have a few books that are listed there, you might not even need to filter some more, but you can edit directly in the sheet, or you can use the edit method here if you wanted to add more information. I trust myself that I'm not going to make any other crazy changes, so I'm going to say that this book costs $15 and it's automatically updated in my shopping list. Before you forget, I recommend removing that filter because you might just not realize that it's there. So click on that filter, select all two, and click OK. That's how to make your spreadsheet a little less overwhelming and you can find what you're looking for.